This is Dusty's Valentine's Day special for mammaw. It's a sweetheart special. It's Pappaw's letter to Pauline from heaven, and how he remembers everything now being up in heaven. And he wrote a letter to mammaw from heaven. Pauline, I remember when I was just a boy. Seeing you every day across our farm was a daily joy. In those days of picking cotton with Elof and being kept company by my own sweat, well, that was a mere sprinkle compared to my nervous self the very first time that you and I met. You had many boyfriends, I remember, but for some reason you chose old me, and those guys are long gone in the past. Just like our grandson Dusty's favorite singer George Jones sang and wrote once, "If I can't be your first love, just gonna wait and be your last." I finally asked you out and you said yes. I remember our Sunday morning drives to church listening to the Gaithers, and sometimes we'd even listen to Jake Hess. I remember thinking of you the day I left the farm at age 16. No, I didn't go to college, I just worked at that printing press, but you were always with me even though we were miles and far in between. I returned to court you. My proudest day was hearing you say those words, "I do." And even though my last 12 years were hindered and cursed by Alzheimer's, the strongest memory I ever had, Pauline, was those two words from you. You never complained or second-guessed my leadership, especially when we drove away holding hands from the Cadillac dealership. Now, the first time I ever had a true love-struck whoa was when you sat in the passenger seat of looking so pretty, poofy hair and blue. Yep, you were in my El Camino. We had 3 kids. The girls, Terry and Darlene, excelled from your beautiful looks and athleticism, and even sometimes they get on the court and they play tennis. And we knew we had our work cut out for us when you birthed that middle son. He's been all over the world. He was funny and full of life and telling stories on you and me, and we named him Dennis. You cheered so loud for me when I pitched softball under that beautiful Austin, Texas sky. Our family and friends knew me as being a farmer, a printer, a follower of Christ, but when people were at that softball park, they knew Floyd as the hurler, and that was their reply. I'm fortunate that I was adamant in rarely neglecting my daily Bible study. Our children do it today, and how I miss making coffee for you. Sometimes you'd make it for me and say, "Here, buddy." Do you remember laughing with me when our kids would mess up, and the time that Dennis had to drink orange Metamucil, or I don't know, maybe it was Geritol? I remember seeing you cry when Dusty was in jail for the second time because of alcohol. You know, Pauline, we lived life, helping our family every time they would fall. And you and I both found peace every time through the one I see here every day in heaven, and trust me, he really does control it all. I miss praying with you, like that night we prayed so long and hard and fervently. We prayed and decided that I'll work 3 jobs, and you adopted carpal tunnel syndrome from cutting coupons so that Dennis could attend Baylor University. You always helped me being honest and fair, especially the man talk I had with Dusty, to which you said, "Floyd, do not talk about his hair." I remember laughing at the last movie we saw with Chad and Dusty with George Strait's film called Pure Country at that theater by the Forge. I commented on how good that new actor was and didn't know it at the time, but later you said, "Daddy, that was actually George." And you remember how serious I took my job every Wednesday night being in charge of the tea, along with finally getting promoted to ushering that center aisle on Sundays, while you waited looking so pretty on row pew number 23. I loved you so much even when you reprimanded me in front of that guy, I'm not for sure, I think his name might have been Mike, when he said some people didn't approve of our pastor Kai at Hyde Park. To my reply, well, they can all go take a hike. My memory up here in heaven is so sharp that I recall every second of you, our family, and yes, I still even remember our bird Blue. When people here praise God for all the blessings He gave them in life, they know my answer by heart. And that answer, Pauline, is always you. As I spend my days watching you play bingo and doing Zumba, laughing, seeing our family looking to God for all their cures and sometimes their cures, I haven't forgot about trying to get Jesus to help out little Timmy Duncan and his mighty team. You love him and know him as the Spurs. You know, there's no sadness up here in glory, and I don't feel any pain. I don't feel an ounce of regret. But I want you here right away. But Jesus reminds me that he has a grand future and wonderful plans for you still. And every time I ask, he says, Floyd, no, not yet. I see you living and becoming a more beautiful lady every day. So proud of my beautiful wife that still sings the best in that reserved pew every Sunday. Pauline, you'll always be my boogie, and no need to worry, you're going to be just fine. The truth is enforced because Jesus died in order to become the everlasting and most powerful vine. And because of that baby doll, I'm with him here today, still loving you, always with you, and I miss you. Happy Valentine's Day.